Lenny, how you doing, my friend? Uncle Lenny. You all right?
Oh, that's a good uncle. I'm 45, Roger. Come on.
It's so weird, man. I remember first time I saw you, it was so strange. I was thinking, damn, this guy, he looks so much like me. Like, and it's so weird because I never say that. And I was looking at you thinking, damn, this guy. And then I think, I don't know how we got introduced, but you actually mentioned yourself that there was quite a few people who said a similar thing. Like, are you my older brother or something like that? Like, what's, how did you hear about me? Like, there's a slightly uglier version of you or something like that. Is that right?
Oh, yes. You know what? I've heard. You know, I knew you were a competitor. I think was you with WBFF or Miami Pro or the other federations beforehand. And I remember in one occasion, really on one occasion specifically, where I was in the supermarket and some guy said to me, "Oh, you look like Roger Snipes, man." And I said, "Really?" I thought, "Right, no." I said, "Listen, he looks like me." Did you remember that?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
That's
well,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I get a few comments, and I go to shows and I judge shows, and I get guys coming up to me and says, "You could be Roger Snipes' dad," and I'm thinking, "All right, okay." Oh, wow, and I'm thinking, "Wow, have I aged?" You know, but hey, it's a good thing. It's a good
Well,
thing to look good. That's how
man.
I say it. If we look good, man. You know, we look after our bodies. You know, we have a healthy lifestyle, and it generates positivity. And
Yeah.
if people say comment that I look like you look like me, that's a good thing.
You know what? For real.
Because you're well presented guy, and so am I. You know, that's the way it
Absolutely.
is.
I'm so greatly inspired by you, and I've seen a lot of your work over the years, and I think one of the biggest inspirations for me, which some people don't really take into account, is someone who's been doing it for so many years and has managed to keep the consistency. Now, I would say I've probably got to a position now where I feel, all right, I can accept some compliments because it's like, do you know what? I've been in the game for a while, so good. But for me, I look up to people like yourself because you have really been in the game. So what I'd like to know from you is your bodybuilding journey. How did it start, and what brought you in it today, like to where you are today?
Wow. Right. My journey started way back in, well, I first entered the gym. That was 1984. I remember when I was at school, we had a science class, and in this particular lesson, we all had to weigh ourselves. Well, the teacher had the weighing scales, and it was just part of the lesson that we had to weigh ourselves. And I remember when I weighed myself, I was 9 stones. I was 9 stones. How much is that? Kilos? About 40, about 50 kilos. No, sorry, it was a bit more than that. I was perhaps about 60 kilos. And I remember half the girls weighed more than me. And I thought, wow, this isn't a good thing. Although I was pretty athletic looking, I didn't hold a lot of muscle. My body fat percentage was pretty low, but I was just a grown lad of 15, just turned 15 years old. And that was a bit of a put down for me. I thought, how can half the girls be way more than me? Something is wrong here. These girls aren't fat. They're just big girls, big boned, and they look good. And perhaps I better do something about it. I'd always been an avid admirer of good physiques. You know, back in the day, we didn't have any internet, so I'd watch TV shows like The Incredible Hulk, the original one with Lou Ferrigno, and that guy,
Yes.
he looked amazing. What's an individual? And I thought, wow, can anybody really look like that? And I asked my big brother, because he used to go to the gym with his friend, but he didn't go too often. He wasn't very consistent. So I asked my mother, can I join my brother? She said no. So one day my brother didn't go to the gym, and I went with his friend, and it was like a little community center. And on that day, changed my life. That was it. That's how I started weight training. way back in 1984.
Wow.
Right. My gains, how can I put it? I gained size rapidly, as you do when you first start with resistance weights, resistance exercises. You gain a lot, and I gained a lot of size. I was still at school, and I saw how my position in school changed. I was uh, I was made before that. I was just a mediocre, average guy in the school. Everybody just, I was there, but I was just there. I started training with weights, and okay, I was a captain of the football team. Didn't play football, but I was captain. I don't know how that worked out. I was the captain of the athletic team and the rugby team, which I loved playing rugby. And I was put on a pedestal. Look at Lenny, he looks really good. And I felt fantastic. I wasn't ignored, and I was center stage, and it made me feel good because I had a bit of muscle. And I thought, why would that change people's opinion of me? But it does. Changes people's opinion, your appearance, although you're the same person. But I was the same person, but my confidence improved. I was more outgoing. I was more energized, and I felt better in myself. I felt so good that when I left school at 16, I wanted to pursue my career, but I also had to, academically, I left school with CSCs. I didn't go back. I wanted to do some O levels. I didn't go back, so I decided to take up an apprenticeship as a plumber. But competitively, I wanted to compete. So that's when my journey started, competing as a 16-year-old. I did my first show.
Wow. And how many shows have you done since that point?
Well, as a junior, I probably did about half a dozen shows. First one being in 1985, where I won the NABA Southeast Britain Juniors 17s and under, and I was 16 years old. And I competed in the London Titan, Mr. Titan. I won the junior class. Mr. Capital City, I won the junior class. And then I entered my first national championships. I think that was in 1987, where I came fourth in Junior Britain, NABA Junior Britain. And then I came, was it fifth or fourth in the NABA World Championships. That was in 1987. Wow. The following year, 1988, I was actually the favorite of competing. I was a favorite to win the juniors in the NABA Britain finals. Hence, I already qualified. Did I qualify? No, I have to do it again. It's been so long, Roger. You've got to bear with me. I qualified again at the Southeast Britain, and I won the juniors. Then I did the British finals, NABA Britain. I came second to a guy called Ian Harrison. And I did the NABA Universe. I came second to a guy called Ian Harrison. And I did the World Championships and NABA World Championships, which I won the Junior World Championships in, I think it was in Belgium, or was it Antwerp? Yeah, sorry, Belgium or Switzerland, Austria. And I won. And the week after that, I came second in the Super Body Power Classic Juniors to Ian Harrison. So it was
right.
That was an awesome year. Although I won one show, I came second to Ian 3 times, and you know what happened to him. Awesome bodybuilder. He's an all-round nice guy. But I wasn't happy with my placings. Although I deserved to come second, I guess, I always wanted to win. And people were congratulating me for coming second, and that meant nothing to me because I didn't win. I was always that competitive, that winning or nothing. That was my basis. That was my life. If I didn't win, forget it. So that determination is still there. even
That's
even
amazing.
even now. Even to my last show, which was in 2018, I competed in the Two Bros qualifier, pro qualifier. This was in Coventry, 2018, where I won my class in the classic division, but I lost out in the overall by 1 point. Bearing in mind, I was 50 years old when I competed. I didn't want to compete in a age group category. I wanted to compete in an open category because I think that I can stand my ground against any bodybuilder.
Amazing.
And I did. I won my class, but I came second. Sorry, but I lost by 1 point in the overall to get that pro card. That's it.
That in itself is so admirable, you know, because lots of people, I don't know, it's you know, not to say anything against them, but it's like they'd probably keep it safe and will stick to I don't know, like, what do they call it, like a masters? What sort of category is it, like with the age class? What would they call that one?
Well, it would be the Masters over 50.
Yeah.
Well, the Masters categories usually start when you're 40 plus. So you've got, it, depending on the federation, the rules change depending on the categories and whatnot. But usually it's Masters over 40s, and sometimes you get Masters over 50s.
Mm. So
So
what kind of age groups was in the category that you was in, like this open class? Like, what were the main ages of the other people, would you say, your competitors?
well, I would say the majority were in their late 20s, early 30s. That's it, really. I think there's a couple of guys in their late 30s. Funny enough, I had a few guys coming up to me, and they were commenting the fact that I looked great, and I used to judge them when they competed, and it made me feel old, really. But I was old. You know, I was older compared to them.
Yeah.
You know, a few of them were saying to me that it's an honor to stand on the same stage as you. I wasn't born when you last competed, Len. Okay. And I last competed before that show was in 1996,
Wow.
when I came fourth in the IFBB European Championships.
Mm.
So that was, you know, a big gap of 22 years. But you know, it's a generation. But I managed to keep myself fit because I love training. I love the sport. I love the challenges. So my mindset was always in the gym, train hard and eat healthy. Live the bodybuilding lifestyle, but have a healthy life as well. And that's what kept me going throughout those years. I'd always train hard. And that's why when I wanted to compete, it wasn't really much of a struggle. The only struggle was reaching that particular body weight, because I competed in a classic class, which means it's determined upon your height to weight ratio.
What do
So
you
that
feel?
was the only drawback.
What do you think gave you that competitive advantage to, you know, beat so many young competitors? What do you think it might be, or main things that helped you?
Okay, experience. Okay, I've got dedication and the muscle maturity. Basically, those three help. With that desire, I can see a lot of guys the way they train, and I can see. I'm in the gym and I'm looking at guys who are younger than me. Remember, I've been judging as well, so I can see the standards of bodybuilders, and I can see how I train and how I look, and I do compare myself to guys. I do, and remember a year before, was it 2 years before? 2016 or 17. I don't remember. Sorry. I decided to do a guest appearance at a UKBFF qualifying show for the British Championships. So as a judge, I was judging the qualifier the week before, which was in Birmingham, and the Leicester qualifier, I got on stage and I was a guest star. And 2 weeks after that was the finals, and I was judging the finals. You know, it was kind of funny, but I just wanted to show, first of all, I knew I can do it, okay? And I wanted to challenge myself to get in shape, to show that my colleagues and to show the competitors, us judges who judge you, we do know what we're talking about. We have been there and we can still do it at your level and higher. So I just wanted to show a lot of individuals that what I can do. And to be honest, I dieted like I was competing. And it was a long time before I competed. I was so driven and I was so focused because I didn't want to go on stage looking like a fool. I didn't want to let myself down. Okay.
Yeah.
I trained hard. I dieted really hard for a guest appearance. And I shocked a lot of people, really. They were kind of dumbstruck at the way I looked. And to be honest, I was quite happy with the way I looked. I'm never really happy. I'm not 100% really, wow, I look fantastic. I'm always, yeah, I'm all right. You know, I look okay. I looked okay. So as far as I'm concerned, I look good. And I thought, yeah, you know what, good and excellent and awesome. There's a gap between that. So I'm never going to look awesome. I'm never going to look fantastic. I'm going to look good, and good is enough for the time being. Because I've always got that bit I can improve on. You see, so I got on stage as a judge, and I showed the competitors what a judge can look like, and I showed the competitors what you can look like. If you do things right, stick to the basics, diet hard, yeah, and focus on what you want to achieve. Simples. Yeah. And it worked. As a guest appearance, it worked. You know, I did a couple of photo shoots with Chris Bailey and Simon Howard.
Simon Barnes? No, okay. Sorry, Howard. Yeah.
Simon, fantastic. They were really, really good. And he made, you know, as a 50-year-old man, he thought, you know what I mean, I can still do it. So that gave me the focus to actually compete the following year. Or was it the following year? Yeah, two years after. So, you know, that's the reasons why I knew I can still do it. Yeah. So I'm looking at the competition. I'm looking at myself. I mean, bearing in mind, when I competed in the 90s, I was probably about 5 or 6 kilos heavier. I mean, I'm competing as a 50-year-old man, and I'm competing roughly about 90 kilos. Well, actually, tell a lie. When I competed, I was 86. When I did the guest appearance, I was about 90 kilos. So, you know, depreciation of muscle, it's going to happen when you get older. I can't be as big as I was when I was in my early, mid to late 20s and 30s. That's impossible. But it's about having that longevity, which is the most important thing. So I can tell people, yeah, I competed in 85, I competed in the 90s, and I had a massive gap of 22 years, and boom, I can still do it again.
As a judge. You know what? It's interesting because you do have many people that they become coaches. It might even be like, you know, footballers that later become coaches, or bodybuilders who then become PTs or a coach, and they a lot of the time tend to fall out of shape. And it's like, yeah, I used to do it. You know, they talk about their experience, how they used to do it, but they are now a coach. However, you're just constantly just up in your game, you know. And I think that was the ultimate thing, to actually step up on the stage and show people it can still be done. Now, lots of people struggle to keep motivated. They do well, then they fall off, and they might even look at yourself as motivation now, like, you know, especially doing something like that. One thing I wanted to ask you was, obviously, with all these years of you just keeping in fantastic shape, even at the age of 50. Is it 50 or 51? You still 50? 50?
I'm 52.
52! At 52! Still holding a six-pack. You still got a six-pack underneath that
I've
top?
got this 6-pack. I've
No.
always had that proper.
God.
None of this 8-pack nonsense. It's a proper 6-pack. Boom, boom, boom.
All right,
Boom.
could you just lift up your top quickly so we can have a look? Right, 52 years old, Lenny.
For the t-shirt. There you go.
Still
You
got
can tilt
it. Serratus anterior obliques looking there. Oh my God, dude, this is
I
insane.
had to hold that. Listen, I had to hold that stomach.
You look amazing.
The biceps, though.
And the freaky biceps. You've been nicknamed Freaky Biceps on YouTube. I've seen all the mad clips of you showing your biceps. But like, what I wanted to ask you was like,
yeah.
You know, you've had some motivation as well over the years, and you're still in tip top shape. Like, name me 3 bodybuilders or maybe fitness influencers or, you know, inspirations that you've had over the years that has people that you've looked upon and still look upon as keeping that motivation in place. You probably got your own motivation, but just as a little, you know, external source saying, do you know what, this guy is doing his thing, or these people have done their thing, and that's what's kept me strong.
Well, I've got to really say 2 really, really good people who have actually influenced me. Is my mentor, which is a guy called Phil Toppin. He's a Bayesian. He's from Barbados,
right?
And I met him back in, I think it was late 80s when I did my first show, when I went to his gym, and he took me under his wing, and he taught me a lot about training, a lot about dieting, and he just actually kept me back, held me back, and told me enough when time was right. You know, he educated me on forms of training and nutrition, and for that I will always be thankful for his wisdom and his energy and his understanding. He was a super guy, and he lives now in Barbados. I think he's gone back, but I miss him. Another guy I've got to mention, obviously, is Savas Kuriaku, who owns Muscleworks Gym, who I first met late 80s. I think it was 89. You know, I've been very, very fortunate, Roger, because we go around gyms. I go around to many, many, many gyms, and I'm talking about real bodybuilding gyms, and people appreciate who I am, and I get in for, I don't pay to train, and they say, hey, come in, Lenny, we appreciate you coming here. It makes me feel proud, and I'm forever thankful for people who have helped me out throughout the years. You know, it's so nice to be appreciated, and Sav has helped me out throughout the years. He's always been there. I've always listened to his advice, and even to this day, he's been there, and he's been somebody who I can get advice from. So those 2 guys, and one other guy who I think is amazing is Dexter Jackson, top bodybuilder. That guy is a genetic freak. He is. I don't believe the man has been. I don't know how many professional shows he's won. He's done. He was Mr. Olympia back in 2008, and he's still competing at the top level now. Absolutely amazing. That guy is unbelievable. Yeah. That guy is awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's
so
cool.
2 mentors and a bodybuilder who I really admire.
And I feel you. I feel you there. Like, you know, someone who can who can go to any gym and train because of the groundwork which you've put in. Like, it's such a humbling feeling to know that, I don't know, like, people love you for your hard work. I watch you, Roger, and I'm like,
it makes me feel really good. And even when I lived in Spain, I lived in Spain for 7 years. And I went into local village. They have a gym. I have a gym in the village. And I said to them who I am. I brought a picture. You look good. Oh, tu cuerpo muy fuerte. And I thought, wow. And I said, no, come anytime. So the gyms in the village, no. The gyms on the coast, no. I mean, M15 gym in Marbella, you come in. You know, ultimate performance in San Pedro, no, that's no problem, Lenny, come in.
Amazing.
Wow, it's nice to be appreciated. And, you know, I just have to say my gratitude is there for everybody who has helped me throughout my years. I know us bodybuilders are seem to be just tight and stringers and all want to take. But you know what, guys, I do really appreciate who has helped me in the past. Thank you, thank you, and I'm forever grateful.
I have to give a quick massive shout out to Sav as well, because he's one who's able to see talent in so many people. The amount of people he's helped over the years is insane. And I just remember training at the gym really frequently and, just paying a normal membership. And it's like he said to me, like when it came to renewal of my gym membership, he was like, do you know what? It's fine. Don't worry about it. And I was like, I don't understand. Like, do you know what? I'm not going to complain about that. Thank you so much. Thank you. And it made me feel like, wow, like he sees potential in me, and I was like, forever thankful for that. And like, anytime I would do a video, I'd be like, just giving the biggest shout out to Sav, because he did not need to do that. Exactly. How many gyms has the guy got? He's got like world recognition. He doesn't need to do that for someone who just has a passion for training, but he done it out of the kindness of his heart. So I just have to, double up on that. Thank you. The guy is an incredible person. He's a lovely person. He has so much love, and I always wish him all the best.
One thing, he's an amazing guy.
Yeah. I wanted to get into, when people talk about bodybuilding, sometimes people have this certain stigma and understanding about it, or thought process, maybe from looking at magazines, or perhaps, I don't know, maybe typical things what maybe other bodybuilders say. And some of them is to do with the diet. Now, some people believe that you need to eat chicken and broccoli daily, or lots of meat. What's your views on that? Would you say there's a bit more versatility, or there needs to be lots of meat in the diet? Is there any particular, or is it based around like macronutrients, or like, what's your views when it comes to nutrition and bodybuilding?
In my opinion, I feel that for my body to respond, I need an adequate amount of carbs, because I need energy for me to train hard, and I need protein. I need energy for me to train hard and recover, and the protein builds the muscle. So there's no set diet for an individual. But if you find your own way, if you find your macros, and if you find what works for you best, I really think that you should really stick to it. I mean, remember, with Roger, you and I have been training for many years, and I never go by the scales upon the way I look. I always go by the way I feel and my conditioning. I know if I go out and have a pizza, I know that it's not going to do my body good. Okay, if I have clean food, I know it's going to be better for me. But there's got to be a balance. So I make sure I have a balanced diet. I keep my protein reasonably mediocre. So I'm talking about mediocre for me. So I have about 200 grams of protein. I probably have about 150 grams of carbs, and the rest is fats. So, and then if I need to get myself leaner, I will perhaps increase the protein and reduce the carbs and fats. Or I might just increase my cardio activity. So, your diet your diet is very, very important, but you've got to take into account your age. You've got to take into account your activity levels and your metabolic rate. So all these factors aid in helping you look a certain way, and all this comes through knowledge. Yeah, so you learn about your body, and that's why we're here to help our clients with diets and training programs, to give them the information and the knowledge to one day either do it themselves or to rely on us to do it for them. I would prefer to rely on me to do it for you. I'm the expert, as you can see.
Yes.
So, but you know what? It's about knowledge. It's about educating yourself. Yeah, learning what works for you, because what works for me, Roger, might not work for you, and vice versa. You've probably done diets that I haven't done before, and then if you find it effective, you stick to it to a certain time, and then if you stick to these particular diets, it's going to be your mainstay. It's going to be something which you will find there for your duration, you know. But for me, for instance, as I said to you, I like carbs in my diet. I keep my protein mediocre, and that works for me fine for that particular time in the summertime. Now, but in the winter, I might change a few things. You see, so regarding nutrition, generally, keep your protein levels between mediocre and high. Keep your carbs on the low side, but give you enough energy for you to function. And your fats can range between low and medium, but at the end of the day, you need to give yourself enough energy for you to sustain, maintain, and grow. And that's the most important thing.
What's your thoughts on the if it fits your macros kind of approach to food?
Well, you know, I believe if you got a certain amount of macros, the way I feel is the most important way of growing is to make sure those are balanced. I mean, you can eat junk food and get your macros, and you think that it's going to be the same effect as you eating healthily. It's not going to be that way. You know, if I've got 5 or 6 meals a day and my macros are 3,000 calories, say if I eat all the majority of my carbs in the morning, and then I have the majority of my fats and protein in the evening, I'm going to get leaner after a while on the same macros as if I didn't. You see, so it's not only the amount of food you eat, it's when you eat, which is very, very important. People don't realize that. They just think, oh, I've got the macros here. I might change this and I might change that. As long as I hit my macros, I'll be all right. It doesn't necessarily always work that way, you know, because your body is unique. And for me, it's a question of working finding out what works for you and stick to your principles. But as I said, if you have a certain amount of macros, those are your macros. But to get your goals, to reach your goals, you want to make sure you separate your foods adequately so you can reach your targets quicker.
Yeah. What's your views on vegan bodybuilders? Some people feel as though it's definitely achievable, especially this whole vegan movement right now. And some people think, nah, it's not possible for them to achieve an overall aesthetic physique or build enough muscle. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's achievable.
Yep.
I think if you are a vegan and you are an athlete and you train hard and you have enough and adequate nutrition, adequate daily nutrition, you can be anything you want to be. If you really want to do it, you can. It's not going to be as easy, mind, but it depends on what you're used to. If I, for instance, wanted to say, oh, I don't really want to eat meat anymore, I don't want to eat fish. I don't want to eat eggs. I just want to live on the land. I just want to have healthy quality natural food without any animal products. It's gonna hurt me, man. It will take some adjusting, but I will gradually get into it. But I don't think I'll be looking the way I do now. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. So, you know, there's good vegan protein supplements out there. You got a lot of corn products out there. You know, you got your pulses and all your nuts and whatever you eat. But I do admire them, to be honest. And I know a few vegans, a couple of my clients who are vegan have actually competed. And I'm amazed they've done really well. But you know what? I admire their tenacity, and I admire them for being so focused on achieving their goals. It is possible, and it's all boils down to your mindset. A lot of this is about your mind and how much you really, really, really desire and how much you really want to achieve, no matter what kind of diet you're on. No matter whether you're a vegetarian or vegan, it doesn't matter. If you really, really, really believe, you can achieve. I know it sounds like a really corny pun, but it is. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. You know, it's not easy. But I always look at people who are in a position less comfortable than me. I look at people who are physically disabled, and I look at how they have challenges in their life. People have had challenges in their life, and they overcome these obstacles, and they achieve great things because they have that desire. I look at people like that, and that's what drives me. That's what makes me think I've got no problems compared to these people, and look what they have achieved. You see, Roger, it makes me feel that, like, you know, any obstacles in your way, just listen. Just if you want to get somewhere, think about where you want to go and have a plan to get there. Yeah. If you're vegan and you want to compete, do it by you know, you have limited options, but you have options. The same as me, the same as everybody else. I have more options than you, but that's your choice to be vegan. So do what you can with what you got and go for it. That's it. It's possible. You can do it. Just have the right mindset, yeah, to do it, and you will. Don't listen to negative comments about you can't do it. That's going to turn that into a positive. You can't do it. What do you mean I can't do it? You watch, you see what I can do. Change it. Change your mindset. Show these people that you can do it, and you will. That's it.
What's your supplement regimen? Do you have any particular supplements that you would have on a daily or on a weekly basis? Or do you feel supplements aren't that important? What's your take on that?
Well, when I was younger, I really relied on my food, on my general food, to give me enough supplements, except for perhaps protein. I would have a whey protein once a day. But now I have multivitamins. I take a pre-workout once or twice, a month or a week. It depends on how I feel. I take L-glutamine after workouts to aid me to recover from my workouts. And I take a multivitamin, I've just said, vitamin C. So my supplement range is increasing the older I get, because my recovery rate isn't as quick as when I was younger. So a few multivitamins, vitamin C, some cod liver oil, but really nothing really far out major. The basic fundamental vitamins and minerals and micronutrients. So nothing really which is going to be amazingly spectacular. It's just the same old thing, really. But I just try to keep myself as fit as possible by having a balanced diet. And I use a lot of HD muscle supplements because I think they're really, really good. This is a
Okay.
multivitamin supplement which I use on a regular basis, which keeps me feeling good. But I don't take really a lot of supplements, just enough to keep my body looking the way it is. A
That's
lot of this is
amazing.
the majority of what I do it as naturally as possible. Naturally meaning without taking as many supplements, but just enough to keep
So
my body going.
you're eating what, around 6 meals, or sorry, 5 meals a day? Is that what you said?
I eat. I have 5 meals a day,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a protein supplement every other day. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in the morning, I perhaps put a little bit of whey protein in my porridge,
Mm-hmm.
about a scoop of whey protein, and yeah, that's it really.
Yeah.
So as far as supplements, I have a few supplements, but I don't go really crazy because
Mm.
my body is just going to waste it because I don't really need it
Yeah, yeah,
as I did when I was younger.
exactly. So what about this whole bodybuilding scene, like, being part of the bodybuilding industry? Have you ever had adversity in the sport, like politics, or is that a bit of a sensitive area? I
Well,
found so from my experience. So, like, I'm thinking you've been in it way longer than me, and you don't have to name names, but like, just like your general overview of the sport from your experience.
well, I can tell so many stories, but but on a personal level, when I competed in the 90s, those years were just the best years as far as I'm concerned. Bodybuilding's superior years. Sorry, that decade, the 90s were the best. Okay, I was an amateur and I competed in the UKBFF. Sorry, formerly the UKBFF. Now is the sorry, formerly the EFBB. Shows how old I am. I'm just losing my marbles. Formerly the EFBB, now the UKBFF. Um, competed in the British Championships 3 years in a row between 93 and 95. 1993, I came second in the heavyweight class to the overall champion, Amy Francis. 1994, I came second in the heavyweight class to the overall champion, Ian Wadley. 1995, I came second in the heavyweight class to the overall champion, Ernie Taylor. Right. 1996, I competed in the European Championships, which was a drug tested show, and I came fourth. The then president, Julian Fernstein, he told me, because I competed so many times, all right, let's just backtrack a little bit. When I competed in 93, 94, 95, I then went on to compete in Europe, an international invitational show, an IFBB international show. It was called the IFBB Flanders Cup. And I subsequently won the shows in 93, 94, and 95. So there was no other guy had won 3 consecutive titles, and I got money, prize money. And funny enough, the winners before and after me were given pro cards, but because I was in the UK, I wasn't allowed to get the pro card. I was told no. Basically, I had to win the British Championships. Okay, so I came back from 93, came second in the British, and winning the IFBB Flanders Cup. And Julian said, no, you got to do the British. So 94 came round, and I came second in the British, and winning the Flanders Cup again. No pro card. So
Wow.
95 came round, came second in the British, and winning the Flanders Cup for the 3rd time. And then Julian probably got a bit fed up with me, and he said, oh, okay, right, listen, if you come in the top 6 of the Euro. for the pro card, but I got a list of the events for the following year because I was going to pay my $200 for the whole year, and then I could compete. But unfortunately, back in those days, I was working in a club, and I got involved in a fight, and I tore my tendon in my shoulder. So this was in 1997.
Right.
Tore my tendon. Didn't compete. I was out of action. Didn't pay for the pro card. So that was it. I lived a life, got married, had my boy, moved to Spain, lived in Spain for 7 years, came back, wanted to compete as a pro. I was told no. That was it. I was told no because it's been too long, and Julian Feinstein, the rest of the cell, died. So there was no one to prove the facts of what happened before. So unfortunately, I had to start all over again and do what I did. Hence the reason why I competed in 2018. Wow. And I lost by 1 point of getting that pro card, which I never got because of politics. So, wow. Because I didn't pay. If I paid for the $200 then, I would have, I would have paid, and it would have been done and dusted. But I didn't pay because I got injured, so I didn't apply for the card. Although I got the list of the events, didn't pay the money because I didn't pay the money. That was it. And then the president now told me, no, it's just too bad. It's been too long. You've got to do what you have to do. And I decided to leave the UKBFF because they split from the IFBB. So he split from the NPC. Too much politics involved. And then I competed in a Two Bros event and came lost by 1 point. So that was bittersweet for me. But hey, you know what? I've got nothing to prove. I've got nothing to prove to anyone. So I decided to do it anyway, and I lost. I consider that I lost that show. And I did. So
yeah, I was going to ask.
Go on.
What do you feel you've maybe learned from this experience?
Never take anything for granted. I've learned that you just have to do what you enjoy doing. I love training. So although I'm very, very competitive, and I really wanted to achieve more, and I will achieve more. I feel kind of not betrayed. I just feel saddened that what happened to me, because I've seen other athletes who have gone on to greater things, and I could have done more. But it's never too late. I'm not saying I'm going to compete again, but as long as I feel good about myself, as long as I feel that I've done the best I can at that particular time, and I had, but I can always look back and think, you know what, I did okay. I've done all right, and I continue to try to raise the bar. For me, I try to do things as best I can, to the best of my ability. I try to conduct myself in a positive way all the time.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And that's all I can do. That's all I can do, Roger. You know, I'm going to give you one instance which really, really, as a judge, really made me think, what the hell am I doing here? I was at a show, and I was judging. I'm not going to mention any names. I was judging a show, and right, so I don't know what class came on, but I put the guy first because he deserved to win. Okay, but the guy who came first was a son of a judge. Okay, right. I didn't know who he was. Right, and I heard some boos in the audience when he was announced first. So I thought nothing of it. The next morning, on my social media, on my messenger, Facebook Messenger, I've got messages from this disgruntled friend of a competitor who was competing against the guy who won, and he said, he was calling me. Am I allowed to be very specific here?
Yeah, be specific. Go for it.
All right. He said to me, "You fucking nigger monkey, you put the judge's son first, you fucking cunt, you nigger, you this and that." And he put it, wow. I thought, Jesus Christ. I thought, oh my God. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And he was going on and on.
Wow.
About, he was picking on me specifically about being, putting the guy first because he's the son of a judge. All right. So what I did was I copied and pasted it and I put it on my Facebook page. And I mentioned the fact of what happened. Right. And I would say about an hour later, I got a call. Well, was it a call or an email from somebody within the federation to tell me it's not a good idea to take it off because, you know, these matters really don't really want to be seen in public. And so silly me, I took it off. And to this day, I thought, how silly of me to have taken it off. But the worst thing is, I got not one bit of condemnation from anybody within the federation at how appalled they were at such language and how I was treated.
Wow.
Absolutely nothing. Okay. And that's what made me feel, what the fuck am I doing in this federation? You know, that was really, really, really bad. And that made me feel, didn't really want to be here, really. But although I stayed for a bit longer, then that was it. I left.
Mm.
You know, if I can't get back up from my federation, if they can't give me support, where am I? What am I supposed to do? So, you know what? That's a bit of controversy that happened.
I mean, you'd committed your life, really, a lot of your life to the federation, representing it, representing the brand, representing yourself as being part of the brand. And when it came to support, they weren't actually there for you, which is
yeah. But Roger, that was very, very blatant racism. That was disgusting.
Yeah.
And to not get any support from your colleagues. Well, I got a few people were talking to me, but from the head of the federation, who said absolutely nothing, did not condemn what this guy was saying. It just shows you, what am I doing here? I'm better than this. Come on, get out of it. Do what you want to do. That's it.
So you've been part of bodybuilding for training for forever, really. I don't know. 2 generations.
I'm still alive, Roger.
You're still alive, isn't it? The water. You're a bit of a fossil. So you've been training.
A fossil. A geriatric, you mean?
Yeah,
fossil, geriatric.
So yeah, you've been training for many years now, and obviously you've seen from the beginning of your the early era of 90s, 80s, different eras. So you started around in the 80s, and now we are 2020. You know, you've seen like lots of things change over the years. What would you say is different from then and now in terms of like the bodybuilding scene?
Well, obviously with the onset of technology, it's easy to communicate with people around the world, your idols, your peers. That's a good thing, you know. I feel that when I started training, I was so focused on where I wanted to be. There wasn't any other distractions to push me in other directions. Now there's many distractions to push people depending on where they want to go. And I'm grateful to have been in the era where I grew up, because in the era of the 80s and the 90s, because that was just solid training and focusing and maintaining your desires and creating ambition and drive and determination. Not that that isn't there now, but there's too many distractions. I feel there's too many distractions now. The hardcore element is not as much as it used to be. Yeah, I know, you know, with social media, there's more opportunities to make money and to achieve other goals and to pursue different careers within the fitness industry, which weren't available before. E.g., fitness personal trainers and fitness professionals and prep coaches and whatever. But I believe the fundamentals, some of the fundamentals have gone in the way you train, the basic fundamentals of training. A lot of it you will never ever stop. At the end of the day, there's all these different ways of training routines, training schedules, push and pull and all that bollocks. I believe in the basics. The basics work. You always will go back to the basics because it will always work for you. The basics was when I started training. That will never stop because it works. And when I see guys and girls in the gym doing all these fancy movements, I wonder why they just don't stick to the basics. And they're probably, if they knew how to train correctly with the correct technique and the right form, they'll probably benefit more. So, although things have changed for the better, I believe that some things have not advanced the way they should, if you understand. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of things over the years, and I'm questioning. Yeah, like I'll go into the gym and I'll see some weird stuff. I don't know, man. Like if you're doing a leg press, and then I've seen people twist their bodies in all types of angles to try and hit the legs. I'm like, damn, is that even safe? Like it's weird. It's weird incorporating all this new equipment. Half of them I think is a waste of time. I think the most interesting and creatively weird types are the way women train their glutes. I've never seen so many different variations of glute exercises, to be honest with you. Some of which I'm like, wow.
It's amazing the amount of glute exercises you can do. I didn't know they existed, to be honest. But you know, that's a good thing. That's a progression because when we started, definitely when I started, there wasn't a specific glute exercise to do. We would just do squats and perhaps do some lunges, which works the time between the glute, hamstrings, and quads anyway. And perhaps we would do a little bit of the wide stance squats, you know. But now, that's a good thing, really, to be honest. Women now can do more exercises, and they could shape their bodies the way they want. There's so many exercises you can do for every body part, so many. But to find what works for you, you just got to take your time in developing a routine which works best for you, but might not be as effective as somebody else doing it. That's why bodybuilding and training is unique, because what might work for me might not work for you, Roger. So finding your own way of training and finding the exercises that benefit you is quite exciting, really, because it makes you want to pursue this more, because there's so many exercises to find and so many ways of doing that particular body part. It makes it interesting, I guess. But as I said before, the basics, always put the basic exercises in your workouts. Yeah, put the compound movements in. You will perhaps have more of a foundation to grow with putting all this little bit of movements in, which you might find looks good, it looks good for the camera,
Yeah.
but as far as being beneficial to you, perhaps a little bit, but you know, at the end of the day, that's progress, and that's social media for you. You know? I mean, I do movements for my body parts, like for the biceps. I always do a curl and a preacher curl, and sometimes do a cable curl, because the cable curls work for me. It looks good if I'm holding cables like that and pushing in. You know, it's got the effect of getting that peak. You know, put chest right up and you're squeezing in and pushing out. You know, it's got that effect. You know, I keep thinking, oh, well, I'm going to video that. That looks good. I'm going to video that one day.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll do certain exercises just for the camera, and certain things I'll do. I'll just make sure, yeah, the foundation, the compounds are the foundation. Sometimes I find that with isolation exercises, it almost overdoes a particular area, and then you end up with injury if you're not careful. So compounds recruits a lot of muscle fibers and just helps it as a whole, whereas isolation, you just kind of need to be careful. If you I don't know, heavy load and isolation, you're just working one small muscle group, and you can overdo it if you're not careful. That's my views on that.
So with regard to an average day's training, would you do a compound movement first? No, I'm asking you a question now.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Movement first, or would you do an isolation first to warm up the area, or would you stretch first? Say you're working your chest, for instance.
Yeah.
Would you ever do a fly first? Or if you did a fly, you would get do some light movements to particular. Anyway, tell me, what would you do? A compound movement first, or would you do an isolation first?
I would start with an isolation. Like me personally, I'll start with an isolation and relatively light. I would say when I was younger, I'd probably start with a compound. But right now, I will just start super light, and I'll just like rep it out until I'm nice and warm. And then I'll go with a compound. That's what I would do. Because I feel as though with a compound exercise, I'd like to go nice and heavy with that. And if I'm going to go heavy, I need my body to be warm before I go heavy. So that's how I feel with it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, for instance, I would probably start with a compound movement. But what I would do is I would perhaps do about 8 sets. If it was an incline bench press, I would probably do, if it's a dumbbell incline, I'll probably do about 8 sets, gradually increasing the weight. So it will basically be 4 warm-up sets, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really important to understand. Yeah. The warm-up sets, sometimes like people they might watch and be like, how many sets did you do there? And I might say like, it could be like 8 as you just said there, but I'll say like, yeah, I've done about 2 sets. The rest, that doesn't even count. Let's not even talk about that. I'm getting warm here. I think there is a saying by, I don't know if it's Bruce Lee or Muhammad Ali, but someone said, I don't start counting the sit-ups until it starts burning, until I start feeling the pain. And I'm like, oh, that is perfect. And I apply that principle all the time. Wait until I'm warm up, a bit of a fatigue. I'm like, okay, now, this is when it counts.
Now is when the work starts.
Exactly. So I would like to talk about, for some people, it could be a sensitive area, but I want to talk about performance enhancers, because I think a lot of people need to know. And so you've tried and tested different things over the years, and I'm sure it's helped you to reach your potential. But first of all, I'd like to understand, is it essential to take performance enhancers in professional bodybuilding? Or would you say it's not necessary, but some people can decide to do it?
Well, I think it's people's personal preference, but if you see these guys on stage, if you see those pro bodybuilders, that there's no doubt that everybody does take performance enhancing drugs. At that level, there isn't a chance of you achieving your goals if you don't, unless you are a genetic freak. I know certain bodybuilders have turned pro and apparently haven't taken, but that's the minority. It's an individual thing, you know, Roger. It's an individual thing. It depends on what you want out of the sport. And I'm not just saying pros, I'm saying everybody who competes. It's up to you what you want. And you know the dangers, you know the side effects. You make that decision upon what you want to do with your life, what you want to do with your body, taking into consideration the risks involved. That's a personal thing, yeah? And it's about education. It's about educating yourself on what you are doing, what you are taking. Don't listen to your friends. Listen to advice from people who you think is worthy of listening to. And that's important. It's something which I've done before. No, there's no denying that. As far as you know, because of what I've been through. But you know, I've been training 37 years, so I'm knowledgeable in what I've done before. I'm not silly, but I'm here to tell the tale. I'm healthy. I'm happy. That's the most important thing. At the end of the day, it's an individual thing. It's up to you what you want to do. And if you want to go that way, make sure you get the right advice.
That's one thing really. I wanted to, get into that really, because you do have, I would say, kids, you know, could be, man, as young as 15, 16, 17, that are just, I've received DMs from these kids, and I'm like, wow, like these guys are asking about performance enhancers. Like, you know, okay, so you got some kids that are even trying all types of drugs with no guidance and creating a lot of damage to, in the process. What would your professional advice be on someone who was taking this route that was young?
Right, I would say don't be foolish. You know, it's peer pressure, and that's downright stupidity, and it's really lack of knowledge, which is okay. Ask yourself a question. I would say, how hard do you train? Okay, what do you want to do with your time? Okay, in the gym, make sure your time is spent 100% focused on achieving your goals. Okay? You train hard, okay, and then 6 months later, you come up to me and you ask me the same question. If you haven't improved the dime, you ain't training hard enough. Yeah, I would try and deflect it, and I will try to put it into a positive stance, Roger. You know, that's so important. I would try to make them think about the consequences and see whether they've exhausted every avenue first. Yeah, I mean that's important. That's very, very, very important. Exhausted every avenue, and then if you're still interested, come and have a consultation, and I'll see if I can talk to you about the options. But to be honest, I think you are too young to even consider taking any substances, considering your natural growth is still happening. Yeah. And what do you want to achieve? Have you competed? Do you want to compete, or you just want to look good? Okay, forget it. That's just vanity. It's just absolute vanity. You have to go and speak to someone else, or go on YouTube, or go on Google. That's what I would say. I would really, really say that. I really, really would.
What about, I've heard that testosterone and growth hormone are natural, you know, the body produces it, so it's okay to take, there's no issues there. And then some people say, oh, I don't know about it. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think there's a sweet spot if a person was to decide to take it, or do you think like the moment you elevate it, there could be risks involved?
There's always risks involved. You've got to
Hmm.
consider the person's age, their experience, and knowledge base is important. Somebody in their mid 40s, for instance, that's perhaps safer than somebody in their mid 20s. Yeah, because your natural testosterone level diminishes in your mid 20s, and a form of testosterone therapy in your mid 40s might be a solution. It depending on what you want to do, depending on whether you just want to train hard. It depends on what you want. So you have to consider the person's age and what their desires are. I
Hmm.
will perhaps those two products are probably the safest if they wanted to go down that road. Depending on their age, it's always the age factor is important.
Right, right. Age as well. Is one safer than the other, or are they both in the same category?
Sorry, Roger. Just
Right. All good.
give me a second. Petra, if you want to come in, I'll just move it down. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to move the camera. Here you go. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to move that seat. No, I'm going to get the chair, Roger. This is good. This is live. I'm going to get the chair. Go. There you go, darling. There you go.
That looks like a
That's better,
similar
actually. Yeah.
seat that I've seen in The Matrix, what Morpheus sits on. You seen The
Proper
Matrix?
swivels
Yeah.
round.
Like it. So where was we? Yeah. Would you say there's one which is safer than the other? Or they fall in the same category?
You know what? It safe. What is safe? No, I would say it depends on what you want to do with it, how much you want to take. If you're
If you
they're
was to
both very
take the say, I don't know how it works, to be honest. Like, I don't know, a similar measurement on both of them. Is there one which could elevate too much? Is it what? I just want to know, like, which one is more likely to potentially cause quicker harm than the other if people don't understand what they're doing.
I would say perhaps the growth hormone.
Right.
If you don't know the correct dosages to take, at the end of the day, if it's fake, you don't know how much you're putting into your body. You know, that's a very, very that question. It depends on the person's how they can absorb the drug. It depends on your body weight. It depends on how much you take. It depends on the product. It depends on the brand.
Right.
A lot of these facts you have to take into consideration before you even consider taking anything like that, to be honest. But generally, to take a bit of test therapy in your mid 40s, that's not going to really be a detrimental harm to you. But then again, it might be. It depends on what you can tolerate. I mean, little dosages might be okay for you, but it might
Maybe
be
even
it might not
healthier
be
for some
okay for
people.
someone. It could be, but you know, it's an individual thing, Roger. You know, as I said, what might work for one person might not work for the next. That's why you have to really consider what you really want to do, and what risk you want to take. It's not much of a risk really, but you know, with everything going on in this world, who knows what risks we take on the day-to-day living. It's madness. It really is. Just keep yourself healthy, and if you want to go down those roads, make sure you do your research. You want to read up as much as possible, and you want to have the pros and cons, and don't take any decision lightly. Get as much advice and information as you can, and if you still want to go ahead, that's entirely a personal thing. Entirely a personal decision for you to make.
So I'm gonna just move on slightly. So competitions, that is now a thing of the past, or would you consider possibly at least one more time? Or what's your thoughts on that? Is it an end, or do you think you still maybe got a little bit of fuel remaining in the tank for another one or two?
You know what, Roger? Since lockdown, I've been training regularly indoors. I've got the weights. I train in the parks now. I've got a few clients who I see in the parks, and I've been training, and I feel good. I feel good. I've been eating well. I've been eating healthy, so I can never say never. As a 50-year-old, I'll probably. I was doing an open show. It might be a little bit too much for me now. I might consider doing an over 50s, but I can never say never. That way, I always keep my options open. You know, there might be an opportunity for me to stand on stage in a Miami Pro, give me some Pro, so WBFF, and give me some of
that. Okay, I'll put as a muscle model, yeah.
Some of that up.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I can. But when you diet and when you focus on a goal, it gives you that drive. And I like to be challenged. I like to have something which I can aim for all the time, whether it's a holiday, it's an event, and I'll diet for it. That's what I did last year for my holidays and my birthdays, except for this birthday, which was in lockdown. So I was a pretty heavy lockdown birthday. But usually I diet for holidays, I diet for birthdays and events. It always gives me it gives me a focus, and it gives me something to aim for, and I try to achieve that, and I go for something else. And I like being in shape. You like being in shape. You're never out of shape.
No,
so
it's
you know what it's like. But you know what you've built there is through hard work, dedication, determination, and drive. Yeah, you know that what you built there isn't through ignoring the importance of a balanced diet and good nutrition. Yeah, being mentally strong and being focused. You know that, because if you wasn't, you wouldn't look like the way you do. And I'm not just saying in your training, in all aspects of your life. You've got to have the same principles in your business life, in your work life, and in your training. You've got to be determined, you've got to be focused, and you have to have goals. If you don't have goals, you're just living from one day to the next, and you're just whatever. You want to achieve something that you can never achieve. Yeah, you want to achieve that goal that you will never get, because then you lose your drive. If you get it, you lose that determination. I want to be somebody that I can never be. I want to have that drive. I want to be that. I want to look a certain way, and I haven't achieved it yet. I never will achieve it, because if I've achieved it, forget it.
Kind of foot off the pedal, right? So
yeah, and that's what gets me. That's what really pushes me when I'm in the gym, and I'm seeing people train, and they're sitting down there, and they're doing a set, and they get the phone out, and they're doing this. Come around, do another set. Come on, man, you're in the gym. Make the most of it.
Yeah.
Make the most of it. And now when gyms reopen after lockdown, if there's a time limit, they've got to get their ass moving. Because if they're only in the gym for an hour, they can't be sitting doing that on the phone.
Yeah.
Get in there and work. That's what it's all about. So that time is perhaps a good thing for the lazy asses out there who just want to hog up the weights, hog up the equipment. You get in the gym, you train hard, and you get out. That's what you do if you want to achieve your goals. That's it.
I remember when I was doing circuit training at, well, it was Island Fitness in Enfield back in the day.
Okay.
And there was a lady called Alison who used to run the circuit training classes there. And I just remember every single time I went to the class, I was thinking to myself, do you know what? I think my fitness level has improved now. I'm going to conquer this class and I'm not going to be exhausted. But it didn't matter how much I was training. I was always exhausted. She always found a way that I was always exhausted. And I was like, man, I want to be able to get through the class where I'm not defeated. But I later realized that that was the goal for her. If she saw that I upped my game, she would up the tempo. She would up the resistance of the exercise or isometrics, whatever it might be. She always upped the levels. And it took a while before it settled in. I was like, man, like, I swear you made it harder. It wasn't like this before. But that was the point. That was the point.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, so you never get used to it. So you're always pushing you, always making you work harder, and without you even realizing. And that's the thing. It pushes you all the time. So you got to keep up in your game. You got to keep on top of your game, and that's it. You know, I've got to keep on top of my game. I've got to keep training. I've got to keep working hard. I've got to keep my diet relatively on point. You know, I've got to keep doing the cardio. But, you know, the most important thing is I love doing that.
Yeah.
You know, I love what I do. I like it. I like training hard. I like eating good food. I like eating. you know, I like the results of dieting. I don't like dieting all the time, you know, but I like to see the results because you know that you've put your work in. When you put your work into something, you're going to get the results. When you get the results, it pushes you. It pushes you. It makes you feel good and you look good. So what do? You do it again and again and again. And that's what makes you the way you are. It's what makes me the way I am because I like the results and people like what I do because I give them that hope and I give them the chance to get results too. You know,
Can I just hop in for a second? I need to hop in for a second. For us, who's been doing it for a long time, we might put on a very tiny amount of body fat during a certain period, whenever that might be, whether it's winter or off season, whatever people decide to call it. And then we know that once we set our mind to it, we can get back to the type of look that we're going for, that real lean physique, whatever it might be. But, you know, we only need to turn the dial ever so slightly and we'll get back on it. And it helps us to keep motivated. Now, my question is, you've got some people who are not even close. Now, you were saying about, you know, like when you start to see the results, you feel motivated, but you've got some people who are completely out, like super heavyweight, like untold amounts of body fat. It's even difficult to measure. You definitely couldn't use a skin caliper for it. Now, what would you say for those people who want to be motivated and want to lose a ton of fat and they're struggling to keep motivation?
You know, I would say, look, you're here. Okay. You are here. You've come to me for help, or I've seen you in the gym. So you've made that step. Little steps. Yeah. Then you take these little steps. You look back at these little steps that you took 3 months ago, and look where you are now. So each step you take is one step closer to achieving the goals. I say, look at me, 37 years. It hasn't taken me 2 months. It's taken me It's taken me a while to get to where I am now. So if you consider the fact that you're in the gym, you've made that forward step, you know. So we will take it slow, we will take it fast, but we will move forwards. That's the most important thing. We move forward at your pace. And then once you've got yourself a little bit better, we'll increase the momentum. And then then we will increase it again and again and again. And before you know it, you're racing. Yeah. And then you'll be looking back at the little steps you've taken to really huge strides that you're making to achieve your goals. That's what I would say, Roger. I would say, you know what? You're here. So you've made the positive step. Every time you walk in the door is the hardest bit. When you leave, you feel better. So you know, you want to times that by 100. Every time you walk in, you live a bit better. And every time you walk in that door, you've made progress. And every time you've left, you felt better. Yeah. So you know when you walk in, that's the hardest part. The hardest part is getting here. The easy part is walking out because you feel better.
Would you get them to focus on just making sure that they are in the gym and nothing else? I mean, you got people who are, you know, we're in a day and age where we're just, we're surrounded by people like you or me. They might look at us and be like, oh my God, I'm years away from that. I'm never going to get there. This is impossible. They look at us as if it is completely impossible. And they have to deal with looking at it every single day and looking in the mirror thinking, I am unhappy. Do you feel that if they step in the gym, that is going to be enough motivation to keep them going?
You know, it's all about, as you well know, it's all about consistency. If you want to be able to achieve goals, you've got to be consistent. Anything you do is being repetitive. So it's the habit. Once you get into a habit, it takes about 3 weeks to get into a habit. And once you're in a habit, it's easier. So get into the habit first of coming into the gym. The first 3 weeks is going to be the hardest of that consistency. They have to be drilled about coming here. Okay, look, you're spending your money, you paid your membership, you're paying me to help you. I can help you achieve your goals, but you've got to have to help yourself by getting here. You walk here and I'll do the rest. Okay. Every time you walk here, you've made that hurdle, you've made that step. Every time you make that step, you're breaking a habit. You're breaking a bad habit into a good one. These good habits can happen. Before you know it, you're in the swing and you've got that consistency. That bad habit's gone. You've got one good one, positive one, which is a lifestyle change for you.
Awesome.
It's true. Yeah, that's it. It's nothing really major that what we're talking about. It's things which are very, very, very basic, but it works because we've done it. We've done it. You know what? When we go on holidays, I try to find a gym. I know I shouldn't, but I love it. We love it. I love training.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
When we're on holiday.
Who said you shouldn't, man? I mean, it's, as far as I see it, it's part of your holiday. Well, I love to train on holiday. That is part, like, no one could tell you you're not supposed to. It's like, what? It's my holiday. I want to train. As the way I see it, like if I go to whether a villa or a hotel, something needs to be nearby. And if there's nothing nearby, I'm bringing a TRX or I've got some equipment in my suitcase. That's me. That's what makes me happy.
That's it.
I want to ask, like, a final question is, when your time is up on this planet and you have to say farewell, what would you like to be remembered by?
I just want to be remembered by somebody who was dedicated, serious, but could have a laugh. and not just a pair of biceps. So,
Mm.
you know, I just want to be remembered as somebody who has made, who's achieved goals and who's kept that consistency.
Mm.
I just want to be known as somebody who's been honest and truthful and dedicated. That's all I can say, really.
It's good
Yeah,
enough, man. That's good
man.
enough. That's great. That's great. So
Cool.
thank you very much, Lenny. One thing I'd like to know is, where can everybody find you? Where is Lenny Freaky Biceps? Where are you? Are you on social media? Have you got a website? Like, where's the best place for people to find you for some health tips, for I don't know, perhaps coaching and stuff like that?
Okay, if you want to contact me, my Insta tag is at PT Lenny IFBB. I am also on Facebook. Leonard St Cyr is my name.
How do you spell the surname?
Oh, sorry, it's people just get very confused. It's ST space CYR, as in St Cyr. Okay.
All right.
I am also a trainer at MuscleX Gym in Bethnal Green. I am there most of the time. If you want any of my contact details, just send me a DM on Instagram and I'll send you all my details. Also, my email address is Lenny, Lenny, SEB @msn.com. If you need any advice, any training, any mentoring, any posing classes, which I also do.
Awesome. You do bodybuilding, posing, and also like what, men's physique as well? Is that right?
Yes, I do. I pose in all categories, guys and girls. So I do bikini poses. I do body fitness poses for women. I do classic posing for guys. I do men's physique posing. I do bodybuilding posing. So I genuinely do. I cover most federations as well. I learn quick, so I'm always looking at people who can pose, and they're always looking at me because I can help them. Never stop learning.
That's it. That's the key. Lenny, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of people would get so much information from a guy who's been in this field for decades. You're heading for 40 years.
Yeah, I'm heading for 40 years old. Yes.
Lenny, again, thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for having me on your feed, on your Zoom chat. Very, very, very nice. Very nice.
No worries at all. God bless, sir. You take care.
Okay.